Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stacy has had a multitude of questions about why do we want silver if we don't know if it'll be worth anything in the future, right?
Or can you even barter with it? That's been one of the biggest questions I've had lately. And it's due to one of the reasons George Gammon put out a video, which I want you to get into. And two, they're questioning, based on everything that's going on in our society, when it comes right down to it, can you really actually barter with precious metals, specifically pre-1965 dimes and quarters? So I said, you know what? I'll go ask Chris. So.
And as everybody knows, I know everything because I'm a welder. Fact is, this is a very good thought project opportunity for all of us. And hopefully you'll walk away with some thoughts of your own that you can build conviction on and take the necessary actions. Now, I guess I should probably mention a few things that George Gammon was talking about. Or you
Sure,
do that later?
no, go into it, because that was one of the big questions we had based on the experience that George Gammon just came across. I think it brought it even more to a head, and people started asking even more questions.
Well, here's the thing. Cash is king in Argentina. How they fight hyperinflation is noteworthy. This is just some notes I wrote down as I was listening to his video. Thank you guys for bringing it up. Goods and services are key. Doesn't matter how much money you have if the government imposes an illiquidity problem, if they tell you you can only get $40 out of the bank at a time. Evil is what that is. There's long lines at the ATM for people getting 40 bucks a day or whatever. Banks are holding citizens' cash during a hyperinflation event. So, cash jail. Just imagine. Imagine if you have $10, $20, $50,000 in the bank and you can only get 50 bucks, 40 bucks at a time. It's like, whoa. That makes everything kind of flip.
Yep.
And I reached out to George Gammon. I spent a long time talking with him one evening at his condo till about 3:30 a.m. in the morning. And hopefully he'll reach back. If he doesn't, I understand. Everybody's busy. But what he did and what he saw is extremely, we need to take notes. And more than likely, you're probably going to come up with the thing that I come up with is you probably shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, what if that happened and 100% of your wealth was in precious metals? Let me keep going the story and know what I'm saying.
We say that often, just so you know. We say that. You say that every time you almost do a video.
Well, for some reason, that's like a common thought. You know, people think, put all your money in. I've never said that in my life.
Or put all your money
ever.
in Bitcoin. Or
no.
Yeah.
If you do that, you will lose money.
Keep going.
Anyway. People want to transact outside of the system in Argentina with cash, but they cannot. They can't access their fiat currency, even though it's going out of style. You know, none of that really matters in the heat of the moment. The government did this to reduce hyperinflation. So, reduce volatility, velocity, if you will. The velocity of money has everything to do with hyperinflation or inflation in general. Assume you have 50,000, this is off of George Gammon, assume you have 50,000 in gold and no one has a bank account. So that's another, think through that. You've got a bunch of gold and nobody has a bank account. And everybody wants goods and services. That's what it really boils down to, right? We can kind of stay there. I've got a few thoughts wrote down that I'll get into in a minute. But what is the answer to the question?
Well, so we were talking in the kitchen, and that's why we decided to come out here and make a video about it, because he looks at me and he says, if you have $100,000 in the bank right now, you know this is going to happen, what do you do? Where do you put the money?
That's the answer to the question.
And we started coming up with scenarios. You got to have food, shelter, water. Okay, say you got all that. What do you do with it next? And so we started bouncing around ideas.
That's the answer. Let's say you have all your preps. Let's say you have everything you need, which nobody does. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But let's just say you do, and you have 100 grand in the bank, 200, 500, whatever it may be. And you know that the currency that we deal in forget about what kind it is for now, what brand, you know it's going to go down by half.
What do you do?
What are you going to do personally with just that information? Make the problem bigger. It makes it easier to understand what to do. So what would you do if you knew that the currency was going to, let's say, let's not go away, but go way down in value? What would you do? What would you do?
So let's keep going on that. So then we said if you were to buy precious metals and pre-1965 quarters and dimes and half dollars, would you be able to barter? And Chris and I, we were going back and forth on this. He says, I just can't see you walking around with a bunch of quarters and dimes bargaining. I said, okay, well then what's the purpose of buying it then? Where do we go from there? You remember we were talking about that?
It's divisible. It's smaller denominations. It's recognizable. It's not, if you flop let's just say you had a really low grade silver coin and it didn't have much markings on it. Well, I don't know if that's silver or not. It makes it a little harder to do. But if it's pre-65, then hey, I know 100% for sure that is 90% silver. That's why I bought constitutional silver how long ago? I don't know, long time ago.
Yeah.
And even better, as we get into this uncertain environment, go back to COVID, go back to other things that have happened. Banks, remember when the banks started crashing? What was the premium on constitutional silver?
It was like $14 or something crazy, if I remember correctly. No, I'd have to go back and look. I want to say it was around 14.
It was 14 something dollars.
I was from a hotel room typing it in. Okay, but here's another thing.
So you already know people are going to want money to barter with. That's the sign.
Okay.
Premiums went up, people were buying it.
They were. So now here's another question. So I get asked all the time then. All right. So how do you go about bartering? Do you go just approach these people? Do you set standards? How do you set standards to know how to barter with something like that? Do you find out the premium price, the spot price? How do you store it? I get asked these questions every single day.
See, these are really hard questions because nobody really knows. You have to consult history to figure out what happens to currencies. Currencies as they go away, because 100% do. There's no way to really answer that. It's like you just have to know that the currency's going away, so what do you go to? Do you want to hold oil? Do you want to hold barrels of oil or some other commodity? Now, the interesting thing about George Gammon's video was it's pretty much a banana republic. We're not talking about, Thunderdome situation. We're talking about a small country that's trying to rein in hyperinflation with, hey, you can't get but just a little bit of money.
They're causing it themselves.
Well, yeah, all governments cause this on the citizens, and the citizens are paying for it. The people that have this money in the bank, it's going bye-bye. It's evil. Evil, the people that have worked and saved and their money's in the bank, and it's just literally eroding away. I don't know what to do other than, I came up with a few things you could do if you were in Argentina.
All right, go ahead. You were telling me some of them. Go for it.
Well, if you had enough precious metals or enough cash to get a plane ticket out of there, you could come to the States and sell whatever you needed to and smuggle cash back in.
He did not say that.
Well, this is one thing that people are going to do. People are probably doing right now. Bitcoin, I'm not sure. It all comes back to having cash, right? The US dollar is the mecca there. That is the thing to have right now.
I thought, though, that they weren't even allowing them to use US dollars in some places. I thought it was saying that they could only use their currency, and they were having to do some of it on the black market.
Yes, people want to transact outside of the system, but they don't have the currency to do it.
Yeah.
They don't have the, and I didn't see anything about if you get caught with dollars, I don't know. That's why I'd love to talk to George about this, because I wasn't there. But let me get into a few thoughts. if you don't want the currency because it's inflating, you want the things that the currency can buy. And I'm talking gold, silver, Bitcoin, whatever, anything else you could think of to trade with. Unless it's the commodity people want, right? Try to figure out what commodity people want.
I've heard everything from get to cigarettes to alcohol. I mean, you name it. I've heard so many different ideas thrown out there. You can trade with this. But I guess specifically people just keep coming back to saying, how do I barter with pre-1965? That is the biggest question I get asked every single day.
Well, here's the thing. It's small denomination silver. It's noticed everywhere. It's supposed to be unconfiscatable from the government because it's actual currency. You know, that's the reasons in a nutshell.
That and that you said it's small denomination, those are the two big things that people come back to.
And it goes crazy in really uncertain environments. You know, when something really bad happens, you can pretty much sell it, I would say extremely easy at $14 over spot.
Well, the good news is it's only like $3 over spot now. So.
Yeah, this would be a great time to mention Stacy's a broker for Miles Franklin. If you want precious metals, then her number will be in the description. I'll pin it in the comments. But this is not something that we try to push out of fear or anything like that. This is something we keep a small portion of our wealth in, and we always have. And now we're starting to deal with people that are trying to invest in silver and gold and then sell it later, double their money, and buy a house. That's not it. That's not why we did it. That's not why we've ever done it. I did that with gold miners and silver miners, and that didn't work out either. You know, I should make a whole video about that.
You need to.
But I didn't do a bunch. I only did just a little bit. Because that's the thing. You're just hedging against inflation. You know, and the more you see it coming, the faster it comes, then you can make up your own mind. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Nobody can.
No. And I will neither either. I will give you the facts, I will give you the numbers, but I always tell people, why are you buying? So, but anyway, that's the question I get asked every single day.
Well, just keep in mind that we're talking about Argentina. We're not talking about the United States. If this was going on in the United States, it would be a whole nother can of worms. The whole world uses dollars. It is the world reserve currency. What do people buy when it happens to the dollar? You know, let's just say the CBDC fails and it hyperinflates too, blah, blah, blah. What are people going to buy? It's very simple, but what are people going to buy? Just think about that. What are people going to buy if this happens to the reserve currency? When? Because it's never not been the case.
Well, you're going to want to get your money out of the bank. You're going to get your hands on goods, stuff that you're going to need.
But if they say you can't get your money in the bank, how are you going to buy precious metals? Is it going to last forever? Are they going to be able to hold your money hostage forever? Probably. Your fiat currency, they can do whatever they want to with it. It's theirs. So the people that hold on to their precious metals through the hard time, no, they're not going to be, I don't think, and I know several people that have bought RV parks with precious metals. I know people that have bought tractors and all kinds of things with precious metals. But we're not having a liquidity crisis. People they're not being starved from the bank from their cash. Their cash is not in jail. So
I think that's the difference is what you're saying, what they're dealing with there versus, yeah.
And I would love to know your opinion. This is a very interesting thought process to go through, and I'm really just starting to get into it deep. And I can't, as of this time, I can't really see it any other way than just very simple. What do people buy if their dollar is going to be cut in half tomorrow? If the money you have in the bank will not buy half of what it will today tomorrow, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Make it even bigger. Let's say you had $1 million in the bank. A lot of millionaires, lots of liquidity all over the place. There's 401k millionaires, there's retirement people that have been investing in the S&P 500 for so long. What happens when the stock market starts going down, inflation starts picking up, the stock market goes up again, which is kind of what I think is going to happen, and precious metals keeps up with inflation, and people start to, oh wow, that's the thing to do. I kind of think something like that's going to happen. So it seems obvious to me what to do. In the short term, who knows? We live in the Thunderdome. I saw oil go negative $30.
It did.
You know, anything goes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thought project. Please put in the comments what you think, because it seems kind of simple, but maybe I'm over simplifying it.
Oversimplifying it.
Oversimplifying. Yeah, I've never heard that before. But
he has sayings and makes up words.
that's right, constantly. All right, guys, have an awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.